omayi mu nsem de difata waso se wutie ana nanwumre yesine koso yare beso yade kasere be ko obuase encheye ana obuase tek hu nsem bebre na baaye sisie no ene ye kwase nibia emu nsem ene nchiremu aba okase yi mu
efian kwansa amane bo afi ho ba ne de eche kureyi wa kwanfo no bia ma ne broken heart no ka se bebi oda no emu odin ye pa
ye besa ko na okopie mom na hyebedwemu adonkuma no woni a wo donkuma na fa wa sori eche se ntokwa nkitinkiti bi ahyase a ehunhunu eba ewo mra hyebedwemu efrihin na ekohin
yare ka se ni bebremu ewo efian kwantama ne bo afri ho ba ne de anu edin ye papa ni nyina se okonfo panya wo ho ba bia ma ne broken heart
anadi ampaye bejawa kase mu esanse oswofo ya boni din so mbehwe ya hensem ani de keka aka ho no adensem ya todwa se wo ye obi a wo ya manyoni a efa no ahensam de ya de dan nchiremu enam kwan so eba
na ewo sansem kroya mu wapanyi no kase o mana so de atodwe twemtwe se masi ahodo ne to na ye jeje no yenhwe na yemfanye empuntu djuma
yeba ko ahumasuemu ne ekodi gomo ahumasuemu na oswofo be de ekire de nsem bebre na atodwa fa yesu apon ahodo no ho ensem bɛn na ɔka fa ho na sɛn ɛde ba kɔ wie sɛ be wie ɛhuma bidin
yarika seni be ramu ewo northern Algeria na mane boy free ho ba no enye de eja to ho amani pa makomako edummienu wo matina nanom ense do
kasere da hore ba ko adwuma ko makomako dummienu ana waso yasene ebreba pe mu beti omunka awo kase ni mu wonka echi nti fo so fa wo dwetonde ne bra na yambo hu dewuro kase ne so efa mawo na so for da matenase watenase de YouTube woni ekopie na ye de ani akokire mu ona ensem wa ekoso o man ni twori ne ntwa so magic no ene obeye sanso atadata de no eni bribri kakra se tuntun kakra gum nti magic nko a na obesa tie nka ewo ni da so ofun center samsi radical sadom yopue Dr. Momo Odwini pa ofun center Richie ma root wait and get mu nyina na fa kase life and cray na go bi obo amposentu aso suku a achechefo ni adwumafo wo de watan kase na bo a wo nsi kase ne from cry Chanel cash collection oni asumdwe phones and accessories wo so fa kase ne wo inform station ho na ankata kosi basaw oni adepanfo ngosoro no boys espino no onu so bie mu a eda o mamafo Philippa yebekọ na ekopie mu ewo abudukurum ohine wo ho ede ni fubi center na tumu a onu e baby last kra yebeka no wasem eche numre yi sem no se de bedi kaka kire no o penchiremu a o de pensuo bi no na tenase ne di mu nchiremu ba asomfo no ye me ekoba jesi kakeku adwumre mene
mame akosia ako ensem no emuchiremu ni
Yedienie 91.9 Fatuo Dentraman Radio
abusia ye die ni fatu ho de nchaman radio eye kasia no na ya hyase a ye be ede asomo ene nwure me free sam na sia na me hyase ewo efian kwanta no ewo atoye mantemo na amanebo efi hwaba no echimche se wakonfo be ma bi wo ni din ene pa bobo na mom no na akom ni din ni de ye de ahye ba bi empese obia ebete ena eye ababa bo bia bibinti wono so ya twentwa ni din no so ekakram na ebeto dwasa ababa we ye nurse ni ena eye ne ho ne me chani toto mucho ne boyfriend ne man breaking heart na breaking heart na ba ndie na wadru owuo ene enkwankwanta ma me to me ye basa macheso hu na wotumi se nurse wa sori ni dua so e basa no ena na busuafo e ba mbode ade ne kopia mu ewo eye konfo ne din ede pa boboi akache na wabro kodru ho ne na ndie jam pa bobo konfo hwe na ne kasa kire baba we ya wasanso e ba ni nipadwa so bio na wabra abaye esanso ba nipa mu bie na konfo bobo yi oya na adwen se se we die ya tata keka ye ho anti se die ye betumi awade na se betumi ahyehye wo kakra na mrepa mu no awade kwan be ma ya tumi ede atoso ewo ho Eban sano ababa wesu nya wodro enya toboase de ma eye pa boboja wate ase ma na won eti ho ase bibibia kwaso kama ewo mpatam ho na ena betu de chemche se papo bo eye konfo ya wonom waji ge yin kwasi ho enam so ma oda so ti atiatefo asasi so wan hand ya ma no ende de obema be ya babia konfo bemba guso wo ye edehwe ni ge yin kakran na wasi endro da wo koni fie bebi onu wankasa aha dan ni de ma ababa okoya wo bomu agwa obiemi wasijira ho meba agwa obiemi wasijira ho meba sam ena wo konfo di na so ekotete ni ntokria do wo kotete ntokria no ti se ase obi shaha na kasa ya metin so be makasa ye beka be ma na wo ma eye ababa we breaking heart e ka de nka wotina nonom ense do no wonu a ena ababa we esa so ene ne hye dem obi ni yomo ya no wadam ho ende konfo panyi hu sa asem ya nipa mbro wo somo ye hu ya se konfo pa bobo wanu ena etikwa fomi ene aguru ahye na waka fam ho okokoma se no breaking heart a chi konfo pa bobo a wakokoma no ka se dia wada hospital wo guso wo pre ejine kwa na semi eye na na fene wanu ena na ni dia chi wo chirem sei ede atoaso
ye ho ne ye ne de akonfo bia wo cancer do ere mu ho yin na yin de akonfo de what they do advance na what they do now na doing ya kan wa kan bi bin ti ye ben yen tani din tu nebu chapo what no bed abafro no bibi de also mi film na o ko na che de boy bia on no ho we ja no ya yo ma akitesi no to organ ho on tase ma Mr. Oriano de we attention ma akitesi pa ampa konfi o family pa the way abomodern o ja akitesi de se de no to da abomodern na washon ampa abomodern na o ja akitesi ma ya mena dum no to fine no to nature na konfi Mr. on akitesi or cancer no needing command obi developing odo edema oye akitesi ampa akitesi ejitu on the ma konfi shots there on application look at the word tankata could be the component crab bombarding hey advance the my application ma na kedo na ina ndaka ka oba sele kweno konfi ono pod wa to flowers kama aroko ni girlfriend ko ko du obo abum na application onya engina on tumindum we dino wa sir ndara ko do application mo kan na on tumindum be site ana konfi bombard na ndo hwe o hwe ni dum ko he window blue te dum ka ko sha application de ina auto na kuma okay oye we fimi another oye wa to me ona na akatesi pasan akafana ona ese edem we den na no kontrol ha mo no ko se edem we the konfuno onwu dama penalty Jesus okadam na la awona wo ben no wo ko no na tede mo gbere e bro ku mi adu wo no ko be ma wo hwe no another ona akada ken kwanten wa ku mi ha betmende on tunyina ombonyami
abusia na fene na acheche sem ni na fine ede ache ye ba ne sa na refi ni busum de wasi Jesus na chese ade na kona na ho ye papa panti ye ni egusuwa ede asem echi sina na ho beto no se de na beto no bibia ni anya de be mama so esi ewa fidikase yi so
na unya ntehwe nsam no bebre na ba se konfo abekọ fom obeka Jesus de na chese asa na critical na ye nto ansa no tumfi obuase sika krom no na nsa beto odwa se ne aboase setek oho wuri za dravo mumro di asemu a ni nyina ne say allegedly aye school penino ayi that's when be the school wa and send fata na ntembo enya ne say allegedly o egusu wo court say bia na headmaster yi abofra ketekete de okosie ne munuma ache say student yi na say suafo yi teshe papa yi so buru no bridi brada kakra dia chechirefo ni bia asani didi mo na kopie mu asani bia na kopie mu awo obuase circuit court wana ene temo ho pani tana dwemu akire mu bi se mu a eti afani afa ohwe asem no de jesi okobisa abrewa ntino empanifo nyansemu no wode abasa ebobosu de toto de nunum 25 September yentu asem na fanko hye ye pia na ye de microphone akọ lawyer Isaac Ofori ho say lawyer ensem na temo fo pani kasa no na se asum na kakra etiefo de omudan wa kakra kire ye na yentie de kosi ewo ho say na lawyer adedan ye.
Last date I'm back court no grant some be no the condition be car on say every Mondays and Fridays be am report to police station. So na court no person who say say report and no report one na oye nhwem no who say police for atemu for the chase omoba report nti who say no say so mo report to there omo and Samson to us report teacher for so mo timinya kwan na mo wabo e wa de kire nti we yi sa reporting time na police for no so aye and every it also be the judge was very concerned say still that's all MBA because Kolana this year or other curriculums Kolana ma this year some regional omtifi omususu ya de na he was a bit worried that now we to for senke bayanka people they say no enhwe nanka won ka mo no ntinase na ni manu ya enhwe nanka school no yen san so mbi after case na court the matter is in court so you still deal with the matter in court as it is it's a criminal matter so you look at the basis and the first the TSA and pass it kwelu ni da bob no that is an interesting issue. I would say the man criminal matters more. Abaya offense, police no. I would not Attorney General Limono, and I book do. I say teacher for and I'm quite Miss Wabwa, a young Colano, Mancolano, I say school one year. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. And this here be a dream, I say police for no board, on board, no modern cratane, and no be same it's what is here. I just say, sir, could know the ball, and teacher for and a person answer. But I assembly, I can say, a somewhere of society or national interest. Friends was a man never should say to say, I'm pastor for my child school, no shame Colano, put up so on Cosses and Yaman Kobo headmaster. See and see I had done see cratan or say prosecution in the boom no matter to court in the court in a lawyer force you boom you receive some you are court in so say I'm passing the economy and so on some cratan on the police for instance a sense Yaman and several doors on I be willing to Omunti come when it yes a moment now now was when say my client Mr. Pierre the basso film or Tina court no trap Fifi and Oyena into somewhat intimate cassette when I said Mintino Omra court and many Tino say Mamma Crab no Timiko Boba Moyena na Arab twice with Yamadma, a free and cracked my lawyer for free on the 25th. Na never to as a new one, a year police for the woman and cracked Bia or Mubia, fastened Mubia, or Muna so just say a year born and I got almost no matter no money about and was washing Nafia to us.
18 Chechemua and lawyer at the Amayan, I wouldn't your mind Casafidi soon.
Yet also creating Elwa and Sanfu from na a year with Penina says no yabon din so no and enquire a local government, chieftaincy and religious affairs so a year Mahama Ayarigam and no copiamu el vetting committee for a name while Brana and Sambusa Elquaso our horror opinion at the Atuja HM and when you papa so piamu our Masi na Hudonuma Sikanka Cranka Jin one patem one ye bet to me a carbom Nandy and Puntu Jumebia Yanshebet to me at the Ayama young crony and mino, yet to me I get at the Abuam. Now the crocom will to judge him say a man who quite not sabe decide the breve ya, one also better say at the quiet faso, I bet you yet to Nina or Beshe, now yet to me at the J. L. Mansi, and would Nina Emu.
The DCE can collect revenue rates on every single building and property sitting in his district. He can collect it every year. He can collect basic rate, what the white whites used to call poll tax on every citizen residing in that district, and collect market tolls, collect lorry park tolls, collect all sort of levies. I mean, when you go through the Local Governance Act from section 137 onwards, you see the list of things that the assemblies are supposed to be collecting. The last time I sat with some experts to do some basic analysis, from property rates alone, I believe that the assemblies could be collecting close to 20 billion Ghana cedis annually, just property rates alone, at very, very conservative figures. And so when you ask the DCE to go to the chief's house and collect property rates, I'm sure he will think that you are, passing a death sentence on him. You may not easily have a DCE insisting that his constituency chairman should pay property rates. And secondly, when you leave it to them to collect, they may also end up leaving it in the hands of, party foot soldiers, families, nephews, and etc. When they also are given that task, they feel that it is their reward for supporting a family member to become an MMDCE. And so when they collect it, they are not supposed to account to him. And so many dynamics are at play to make it difficult. Get a system that is centrally monitored, a system that is designed in such a way.
And what you know, and on when you're for a year ago, and it's also watching in some National Cathedral, dear. Nanka, a papa, a year Ghana man penny watcher moon, and I don't quite for the what they buy. Then when the choir more for some of the buy, and then I would know who I answered engine, and Tina, I quite be your name, no so better, not be able to me. I have found no, why get a day I found.
I believe that having cathedrals, church buildings, mosques and other worship centers are great, exciting things that enable the practice of religion. So the idea of having a national cathedral is, in my opinion, a wonderful, exciting idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a national cathedral for the Christian community in our country. If you are asking specifically about the National Cathedral that President Nana Akufo-Addo, when he was president, initiated, I also don't think there's any problem with the idea. I think it was a good idea that was badly executed. Otherwise...
Na yawura yarega gusu kanensem no ana ode wetu dwasehwe ade ye fe na hensem e hadwene pa se wenhunu eho akwan na wanka ho asem ye ya ebetumi atoa so na akọ ha wankasa mu kai hunu se wo ye ai amayoni ebre bia betumi akọ ebre bia betumi de waba na emom na hensem de wo ho afebọ obetumi aboa e ma hensem no se bia ye boa ne pegye mu na ye dia kɔ ne papa so no wo ya amayoni a obetumi aboa no pegye mu na emom no se bia ntawa ɛda ohini ani ohini bi ntam wa wadwe se me na me ye ɔsoafo a me hwa ahensam so nti me dem na kasia na me na taburo kasia no de tawo echi esansem weska ntimi ne tawo echi we afutusem ana ɔde ma amanyɔsɛmfo ana amanyɔfo nyinaa sa amanyɔsɛm no ye hu me bia de akɔpem na nye ahensam mu sa ohini we ni ohini we wanta bi a hunu kwan a befa so a obɛboa ma prepare ya dadi enkohye obi achi ensem we not to us.
Level, it is not being collected. When you ask the DCE to go to the chief's house and collect property rates, I'm sure he will think that you are, passing a death sentence on him. You may not easily have a DCE insisting that his constituency chairman should pay property rates. And secondly, when you leave it to them to collect, they may also end up leaving it in the hands of, party foot soldiers, families, nephews, and etc. When they also are given that task, they feel that it is their reward for supporting a family member to become an MMDCE. And so when they collect it, they are not supposed to account to him. And so many dynamics are at play to make it difficult for collection. That's why for all these years, there hasn't been collection. And I also believe that in a lot of cases, the tax experts will tell you that some taxes are just not worth collecting because they're just not significant. And so I will look at how we can get a system that is central.
And anti ene ba kono ase abafa so kakra nti mo de be che nti we no ye kwan a na ohwese o e bia na kwan be fa so agegege to ahodo a to so de otumi gege a be boa pa efi ahemfo ho ne emperifo bi ho ene nkyeremu na mahama yarga ade mai na de odika kan e fa amayansem ho no de ansa ne no ai bibia ho ne subanti me de hye to so ne yenkoyi do
Ora Mahama ayariga kasewe yape ena waswafu wano so yaboni din se wankoshe eye environment science and technology eye Dr. Zanato Ajama Rollins wano so befa akonyane na otena so ene yenkomodidie mu kasa twetwe ma na odi tudwe chemtwe se eye EPF o ma hyese nyame adoma afi yakwa kwasimu eye sa polythene bag take away da ya tutwa nnuane o mu hyegu mage no wo mo e ba ne no kura e de afri o maga na mu ha ena ma mi de to so chese ampa wata wamachi ye papa and say EPF wamode sa enhyehyeye we na egu akwama no so eta wamachi ye wase wempo yi se be ha ya pamudi ni free wa e be san so abo papa ama ahonidie ehon sem etumi afanete mapa efra ewo oman Ghana mu ha sei
that the EPA just I think a couple of days ago was actually in Kumasi raising awareness to the general public on the impending ban on styrofoam. Honorable Speaker, I believe that the dangers around the use of polystyrene cannot be glossed over, and it has to be done. I think, if not to belittle the issue, but I remember as children when you wanted to go for Antina's rice, you took your own pots to go and buy the rice, and I'm not sure at which point putting plastic within plastic became the norm. And I think it comes down to a change in behavior. Obviously, behavior change is something that can take time, but it can be incentivized, or it can be you can put penalties in place. It comes down to how we enforce and the seriousness with which we seek to address this. I stand by the fact that the timeline has to be maintained. It's long overdue. So in whatever way that I can support the relevant agencies, and whatever way we can raise public awareness to the fact that citizens do have a responsibility under the Constitution to also contribute towards the protection of the environment. It's not just about what the government does. And then obviously making sure that the necessary support comes from the Parliament. And I'm hoping that the committee that has oversight of the ministry will hold our feet to the fire as far as what we have to do is concerned. Thank you.
Onipo wakasa ye Dr. Zedato Ajiman Rollins.
Amra shebe dwom de na de ye da so gina ho sanso yatimpo anu ya ne yati ahwe mu enti nsam firi ho ba pa yenya botanyi nsan ne kakaka fa ma wo na abai ya bomoni abo nipa miensa din se wonko enkosom wo Supreme Court ho na saa mpenimfo miensa yewura John Dramani Mahama abo odin se wonko fa anobaba mu ana se wonko veti ase ne yehwe yentoto amano na yenje omuntum no nkosom awo Supreme Court no ano na so na hyebedwem dom kuma ho class captain ani Alexander Kwame na Afenya Markins adi to just say yen kanu kramva nkyere ye ho committee chairman mi so say eba ne say Supreme Court we omofa vacancy bi ama say vacancy da ho ana kwan bi da ho ntino omomra na omommeso ho yehwem di ya yehu vacancy bi eda ho ekwan bi ya na ho nti sa nipa mieni sen ya yabo omudi nti hifa pa na ekwa ede enko na eba ne sa no na che se ebufu ba to the limit bi a minority mmesen yakọ se betra pa ni avertis company for we die ene lalai ene omunya sorry ya with we first objection ye na odi anti objection ye wi a
Today, this committee takes a single further step towards the vetting of 3 nominees of appointment as Supreme Court justices. The minority would want to put on record a formal preliminary objection to the manner and timetable within which the vetting is proposed to be conducted. This is not an objection to the principle of vetting. It is an objection to the nominee. Neither is it an objection to the nominees as individuals. It is an objection grounded in the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, and the standing orders of Parliament. To a process that's currently proposed cannot lawfully and safely be completed within 3 days remaining in this recalled sitting. We ask that
this objection be resolved before this committee to proceed further, and that it appear on the record of these proceedings, regardless of how it is resolved. We advance 9 grounds. Each stands independently. Together, they are in our respectful submission conclusive. 1. Ground 1, that there is no vacancy and therefore no exigency capable of justifying a compressed timetable. Chairman, the Supreme Court of Ghana presently sits with its full complement of justices. No seat on the bench is vacant. The 3 persons before this committee are nominated to add to the existing membership of the court, not to fill any gap left by death, retirement, or removal. This matters because the entire justification offered for compressing the ordinary vetting timetable is urgency. Urgency requires an urgent state of affairs. Where no vacancy exists, no functional agency exists. The committee is respectfully urged to require the majority to identify precisely and on record what harm befalls the state, the judiciary, or any litigant if the 3 additional appointments are vetted with the same care that would ordinarily attend any Supreme Court nomination.
Na meanwhile okasa wie ya pe ana ene a chairman ade ma konumti no opeda nsa Bernard Anyafo ana o kire mu se hwe afide mu ya mana ye dodo sa ade ya wakofa be ya ene mu ya objection say ye hwe mu na debende be yi won sama wo kana se mu ha dodo e very flimsy before you so no na hallow emu ha adedenwo enti Masam has 4 flat, baseless. Now, we chairman so like
over this committee and purport to vary the orders or directions or decisions taken at the plenary by the entire house. It is not done in any democracy, and I will not be the first to introduce it in Ghana's democracy. Honourable members, I will not also decide over this particular committee and discriminate against the judges. Allow the vetting of our colleagues and then reject the vetting of the judge's nominee. I will not do that today. I won't do that tomorrow. I therefore consider all grounds of the minority leader as flimsy and hollow. I considered his objection to be frivolous, vexatious, unmeritorious, baseless on the facts, the rules, and the law. Therefore, I will accordingly dismiss the objection by the minority leader in limine. Thank you for your rapt attention. I will not preside.
Meanwhile for the second time. And okasa we are na fanyo say chairman. Mbese kasa last one. Etimam kwana men kasa. O se me masama me kan ye baseless. My case has 4 flat. O de ti okasa we are na say minority mu so me say enko. Kekere keye mbobiu. Agro no egbegu engu. Ya sori akọ. Na o ye ntia afanyo marking so we omunya na omunya mo sori koye. E ban sai hadwen pa.
To you, Chairman, and the committee and the country, that we, the minority caucus, hereby vote en bloc to reject the nominee. We would want to state on record that the majority can proceed with the questions. We do not intend to proceed with any question. We are, however, registering in the strongest terms that we reject the nomination, and the records should reflect that the report of this committee be a majority report. Honorable colleague, when we show you respect, reciprocate. So far, we have extended to you every courtesy. We've heard all those unpalatable words. We've heard the abuse. So please, for posterity's sake, listen to us. We don't need to vet a nominee before we vote against the nominee. We have preliminary issues well grounded in law. You may disagree with us. And we say that on the basis of that, we cannot be part of a process that would give rights to another and deny another of her bona fide as enshrined in the Constitution. Chairman, that's it. We would yield to you to proceed whilst we exit this committee room with our views well documented for the records, and on the floor we shall proceed with the debate, further stating our position and take a vote against the nominee as required by the rules of the plenary. Thank you.
Mo enti asan yeto kwa nwom no enti saa na asem na kosie enti ye hwese don kase no ebe be kan bia na mun kan bia ha na movie we esie ye hwese nyame adom ochena ekọ no ye de ne part 3 ne 4 no abesoso be de hye yenkwai
Any dom kumane sorry kwa ya wabra ye kokwo sorry ya adwira nya adwuma no sanka wo montenase emma Supreme Court judges no so mo vete wo mo embisebisa wo mo anu de semesanse mo wo kwahye bia ete so mo busebisa ye papa na mo bufu ya wo mo nyina sorry kwa ye no ene ansohwa empanyifo maka be dom dodo na maka na mo tenase no wo mo so frɛ eye Justice Edward Amoako Asante sebetenase ye wo mo kwa ye de wo ha ye be pese nsemu ade amawo wabra panyi ebetena se ene no mu free eye ensebisa na sem ene busan se owurei wo wa ye eye lawyer panyi na se judge panyi die eba de se ye chi obi ne de ni kwatuma eye don hwere be se no betumi edi no aposifo akukumu empusi abro so a ekwan be so do onya e kire no wono so be so de be fa emra kwan so ena papa yi ehi ano wo twentwe se ewo emra mu ne de ene ye chi nipa bi no koda eye aposifo akukumu a abro so a eye don hwere no na enwotwe 48 hours enompo etisi etumi edi ukogina emranem na siema wudama na siamfa wankogina kwoto wonso dema wo bia nka wohia wo sa nipa kro no se wonya kwan na upia bonti a utumi ede eye aposifo no ekọ court ebusa wo die ntia wo ma wudamu ebro eye donhire aduanan enwotwe.
I do not think that is necessary in our circumstances. Act 30 is a clear act. It is there. Then, to reinforce, there's Martin Pebu and Attorney General. That said, all the matters are available. And therefore, it is there. It is people who, or lawyers who have not sued those who have detained their people beyond the time on behalf of their clients. That's exactly what I espoused earlier. So if you take action and the court declares and fines, takes, award against those who have done so, then it will be so that everybody knows that you cannot just get people, keep them, and police keeping them for times on end after the 48 hours. These are things that people should be doing for us to know that the courts are able to confirm what's in the Constitution for those things to happen. So all those rights, for me, are justiciable. Yes. That's what I can say today.
Opanyina kasa ye Justice Edward Amoako Asante.
Yo, and ye entwa kase no so na de mu de pa. Na ye kwa enim dia ekopiem awo yewura John Dramani Mahama so ye na kodi nkomo bi na opania ya de bia o se ebo na ba so pa aneyi ane o di ayakobo from paso ka fefe se ne multi purpose car park a hostels also complex e ka ho e wa Accra International Airport na nchiremu ni nyina yetiawa ni nyina ne se o pese o hwe na International Airport wa international mpa ze ukopiem wo no bi fi amanone no we piem Ghana ze ampa you bibi wo baby o have fe papa nei obako no ye say story building to so makomako enson te say fe papa bra YouTube na be woni so ade na ye be John Dramani chechirem de ntia sikabotiri sei o de ko hye sa adwumadie mu.
Government's commitment to investing in aviation infrastructure, strengthening connectivity and supporting the growth of an aviation sector capable of competing at the highest level in Africa and beyond. And let me also mention that yesterday I signed my assent to a new Ghana Customs Act. And in that act, we have removed duties and taxes on aircraft spare parts. So but note, for domestic airlines, we want to make domestic airlines safer, and so if they bring any spare parts to maintain their aircraft, they will come in duty and tax free. I'm sure Passion and Africa World will be very happy to hear this.
As a share na koma yema Dramani Mahama Jubilee's brigade no the same way at the Atuja Accra International Airport.
Honorable First Love Pierre Kenny Masni Crutcher was somebody shewa obwase mami eden sima wudo bebre atujam na ne senka yemu enoda atujwa HM say sa wote obwase titiri emeburu nom na wodi atutro sembia ba wodi wom a eno emboa ye krakrakra ya sara de bia na edimboni ena moje edi abramasi no enti wakoto sere eye emeburu titiri wo krom ho sa bibie ni adwebro na se bia atutro sem yode na wo bia bodi obi abodi enkyerese wo no wo ye hero.
Kakra meeting as municipal chief executive and say, and Yama said Anna Ebwa, especially with the emanating Yamabias, because I'm inviting penny for the Canadian Kakra, and say about a foot to be the two abrupt so the meaning, and I make common me. And Yama say, was a mayor Bebwa. And the one may say, yes, you was a Campan or ye hero, yes, you are famous, and I say, said you would say, better to a number for my own near mouth, and never mind. What would be a footiomo, what would be Sicamo, what would be Grandpa Airwood, or a papa will be the hospital, it makes you a hero. But a yes, got the brow, and get famous to be brow, or what never more I hear you. And I'm a near my brassy, and I saw bosses here to meet this air foot and a troop of penny for the tree. I did say a bottom of the Bobra. A bossy back one kind, yes, I try a one second, yes, I hear Pukumia. No, Mamma to be Barbara, but and I was here Saturday was a tree of that Tim said. Aside gold. What are we going to do? So God didn't know how dear baby as youth in of what ye baby. It is Sunny when you na home a bois and macaroni tumpon. Now a beer of was and some was and so a dance. Sometimes a bitty baby not to say, where am I of was a jim bonnet, but sign your money when you answer to me. And I am me, yes, a youth to 290 me, my homo baha, homo betia futu and some papa, Natimia bois and of was a apple.
Obuasi Masni Krachi, Honorable First Love appear Kenny.
As of Pomu Ankasa, our war Kalika so anymore. I could din shimu, I could drink you one, I could have plenty of the first war, and yet Kalika so never to if you are doing what quadumo, and yet a Okopiemuno, a class prefect or a most Reverend Matthew Jemfi, and Okasai, our conference Nasi, a church Musa. Aya na ya koye se asofofo mpanimfo bi wo a wonya tumi e wo wiase nyina kasa se omukura ye fa man kura mom no mumu zanze omu asofofo omu kasa obi nkebi anasefo na odin se mu atu dwa kire mu se we ebeya freedom and justice ni freedom of speech na asefo yi obi ka asem na se nya ene se mra wo ho ye fa no from na kwan so enu mu so nkire se ye nya mra chinchire twan se nipa no on kan ribia mpo na se ase yetete no your kromfo no so omowa okobo wa pe aha kromfo no dwane or the way to us.
Let's say that the freedom of religion, therefore religions can do whatever they want. No, it is not. They are supposed to follow the state law. So don't treat certain matters as religion. Let me give you a very typical example of what happened recently. When somebody says, if somebody says this, go and kill him. Now don't consider that as a religious matter. You should arrest the person. It's clear it's an individual act, not a religious act. And you should not clothe it as religious and think that there is conflict between Muslims and Christians. It is not a conflict between Muslims and Christians. It's a criminal act committed by an individual, an insightful message being given by a wicked person who wants to create confusion in the country. And it should be treated as such. And it should not be treated any other way like the way they did it. I think that was a wrong way of dealing with it. And that caution that I'm bringing to our attention. This is religion. Please, we have a lot of history. And we know what we talk about when we say this thing. We read the details, the fine details. And we see what is going, what we are doing. And therefore, where it is going to lead us.
Sure. Also, wakasa papa. So food now property so no can ye de na ye hunu se we are so for 70 ye nyama nka emra o maye mamrane honni na so for kasa we ya pe bishop kiremu a o kiremu se he oba secondary schools ahodo a enayi aya ya kabo for kase in discipline enkola ni mbu hwehwehwehwehwudi agro na wakana asem obehwuhwum sisi a wona a chekire ni na ye pe wasem sei abofra no kane no nka abuza abofra o yade ne hu chekire ni a America obetuo no ene mmofra no wotumi kura to nsafra chekire ni se wona na won yesa ade bone no e ba say ha adwen ni nyina na koye se kane no ne wo entitie bi a ye de mmofra no fam ze bi a religious and moral education bi anase for no ye yidi nyina to atwene e ba say
we used to be represented on the Ghana Education Service Council because of the number of schools and our involvement in education. For some reason, they eliminated us as if we don't exist. as if we have done nothing for education, as if everything is the state. So where decisions are made on education, we who contributed towards education are not there. And so recently, you see, we are talking about indiscipline in schools. We do not know why there is indiscipline. We know it. If the one whose call is to instill discipline and morality into people, if even they don't do it imperfectly, is eliminated and is not given the right to do this, then we ask why there is indiscipline and immorality in the schools. Currently, we know we have begun around 5,453 basic schools, many of whom which the government also helps and pays salaries, etc. We have 82 senior high schools. We have 41 TVET institutions, 4 special schools addressing special needs, 13 colleges of education begun by us, now assisted by the state. We have 10 other tertiary institutions. So this makes us, I believe, strongly the second largest provider of formal education in Ghana after the government.
Reverend, Most Reverend Matthew Jemfi, Nesamana Wahro Eguho Adiamayeno.
Yet also creating ewa and some from an America Siano, Ramu ewa a drum Tnania Wapre, Sa MPP for Anton so Abba, a year or John Boadu, and they and Oko fine lane in nominations now Bram, Wakoya Bibi and Central for Ekasaye, Nekasayamu and Openi Edia to Jim Chese, some woman who quite panomo to a banamanum, now a movie said drum Tnani Emma MPP was no coco Amano Quena, and Yamani Akadi Beguan de Babwa, Ama a year equi and as a party. To me, I said, Jan and Naso Brandy Bill.
I am here seeking your mandate for 5 reasons. As for my experience, everybody in this party attests to the fact that there's nobody who is prepared and ready and effective to run this party as the national chairman of the party. But that notwithstanding, I come with you that there's a need, if you vote for John Boadu, there's going to be massive rebranding of our party. If you vote for John Boadu, the era where the NDC will be snatching ballot boxes, will be harassing and beating people, will be destroying collection centers.
Ora John Boadu.
And you from your same way. Now I mean come for prekese garlic mixture no e fa ma o mesrew unye bi num ya akopɛ bi na bobo sanse duro we ba ye no awonwade e no prekese unu ne dwuma adie garlic no so ne dwuma adie na so aye ne mixture ya ka bom pem san for ko fa ba na he wo de tie se opese wo boost your immune system na eno na wo benum e bia wakonya ennamu yare bi te se gono syphilis chlamydia etuase de ma one time stomach ulcer ebe yefi or diabetes and as a blood pressure no etuase kura na so manage de amount o cholesterol no ebe reduce no mana kofom kura asanso ma wo muja ne die furusani wo mu detoxification no ebe yi toxics ni nyina no e de efiri wo widie no na wakase wo sa ampa krivi abawu na unim opepeka se nwere ibi na wotumi anoma he eba shop bia wo mpotem bia ko pebi also pepeka se garlic mixture ni bi na wabobo dudu mu mfre na mfa mu shop mu 055 0500 8830 and 0241 604702 na yin to me more sa kwan no so yefiwa asumdue phones and accessories ye asumdue phones and accessories na make for the amount a free iPhone 17 Pro Max no uda so ginam den Techno phones, Samsung, Itel, tablet de mamofra, laptops ni akofa bakura TV ne board da form sabre 190 no boko phone covers ni biaba and your chargers any Bluetooth earpiece ni speakers na odi bi besi shop mu wo Philips no ni nyina akofa biaba aso ni amiu na ma menchire bu nchire wo yes I repair phones na your flashy phones na baby watch am no shaking on there your repair phones no na baby flashy phones na kasa na ewo jakasie mo kane na baby na I am free station wo no bi esi new stores no ane abosa kase na ngidie no hwe no men kosoro ho yeni soro ho nye ho na ye dia efom oso yeni ho na mo mfimfini ho no obo si atwa asomdwe phones and accessories ubako no o to Chairman Francis wo ho 0243508189 na on flash phone no fa ma wo na director na mu director obi a director no director no shaking ono okesiem awo bi abaya to ne dua na chire wo pe obo si atwa asomdwe phones and accessories director na ngasa butuwa o mamo phones na star BAB 0246220593 that ATM now to see I say our Friday special promo and a Tuesday special promo nyame admoch na okowa ka chan say ka keku say Friday special promo no on fa de ma wo kwaje wo de na bibia no enye kama na wonya nsuo ni bi oboaje ka atahwe ehun say bo da fom na me kan wakodi ho dance ye de nsuo na no bo ho for me amanfo be shoot him sisi a say bia wo to yi awake bi medium size and small and baby see wo de kobisa bibi won chen na de be compare ye hade ye ho no mutu no na unim o mutu bu e ho pa je say nsuo no bo ho for munti na abade de kasa kasa yan so to e ba ya na ekọ enti no uni problem kra ka say nsuo de si wa chenti emu eyi nkane ade efi factory a yan fa baby a straight na be hwe gu ho na e ton no tufo bo nye ba akoma unya dabi etufo bo pack ketting mu na e ton no na ubia uye yie ohun abadinto ana uye hyemudie bia na ehwo na akofa wonsuo no se de be ya kana ba fom na ne de sika no unya ye ya na ye yi fraying 0596254234 na ohwe chira kwa ya watechem ai kana ne bibia kase na se bibia na ya fa wase kropon ka no ehwo na ebutuo ene be ko na bia na dua na ebu nti enti ko na we hu dua na bibia fa wase kropon ka na de bisa abofra kro ba kire wo se boajik clever water wholesale no ehwo na ebutuo na de chema rural bank omuda so ya wanwade no susu savings premium savings wadache mebadache fixed deposit what their ba treasury bill ni white gold investment agri-ten investment mobile money services no ni na we bi ewo apex link ACH MoneyGram yi switch Ghana pay ni ria ni nyina no obeye bi ama wo hwe bank ba ko Bank of Ghana je matum no wo hwe wo no maso na de atoto nkofo de hu omo correct pa and the loans ni mie yawa agri-ten loans upebia ko ye wunfu susu loans funeral loan project finance loan ni loans awodo ni nyina tabia upebia no yebenya bi ama so ene mienu ba ko awa yam free ye wo any OC fast food no edi enim hwe wa yam free station wana kesepa no wodun kwa no Free Canary Road aho de butu ye di adwuma free 0303981229 and 0503230233 nye du nyini mbom sisi a na enche bia ekwagie ni na de de kwagie ni no aye Ebenezer Unique Ventures ehon de enigide fie nie High Sense Nasco product, Neon product, Nexus product, Pearl product, or the baby can product in home appliances say be a home theater, TV, air conditioning, fridge, a fan, Nina, kettle name. I don't put them in petty okwa and a boost watch up by a suye na 4 machines ni biswaba multi TV decoders any DSTV decoders ni nyina ebi awo ya suye bi mienu mo apade nchira west mu dina mu di moni chire mu awa I am free opposite Denchoman Rural Bank awo ayi wona run about no so wona na unim kese pa won ya wa apade nchira east ya ne na obuase ni ehimfa ni nyina no mumna dunkwa na mumaje mu de no ewo opposite community center ho na adwakesiem okonfom kakra community center na ne die no hwe no na ebusu ho yi February ben ewo 0549657025 na yentumi emwa ya akogye ni wakase ni mu Ken Abi Natural Health Clinic and American former gono syphilis chlamydia candida UTI sexual weakness infertility I wanted to me by money about wanting to me menstrual disorders and prostate disorders ni na asthma whooping cough kuhu any woni ya woni person woni ni sa osaji fudie okoboni dia osi ofoseje emwa waist pain wo to asintine na twon sciatic ade no and many more shall see ho medua mo ya de dia na je say many more no ye be saw ya de kra physiotherapy ye home care clinic on the wheel online consultation nutrition any counseling ni na no ye betwa ma correct pa we chira kwan what gym ye do brothers dine mo any blue and white plus pharmacy no and a bon one yedi adwuma fra Dr. Kingsley Nimmo. I was 0243933472 and 0208621368. Afidi kwandem ye kwankwaji ni ewo kase ni mame akosu akona me ofase ono ana san so to aso e dia mai eni gide kase e bo akwem.
Nigeria Cassie, Nature Man Entertainment, and a tire tree. And Nigeria Cassie, Nature Man Entertainment, and a tire tree.
Abusia na se na me famu remo ewo enigidi ensema na we ni remo ewo alatamaimu Nigeria we a Nigerian skit maker and din osanso ye comedian your friend Carter Efe abefontinta fidie no so de wa wonim ni bia wonim ni ye papa animasema me babeken wade atudwa echwemtwe se enchepi enda eye content creators mienu Pella or Nane Hokani Javez, Wamo Eka, Wamo Tumapa, no, I say no, we are Mr. and Mrs. And then Aka will be Ama Ayakata Effie, and the actual chimches we know social media. What dear Mamma say, fear na fear no, what Betty and say, see a goo, Debeti and a papa Eka Sanum, was so women, you know, we are content creators, and some barber for Tinta Fidian so, and I jai or China say, no, Musokasi about what they were, yet the Mokani, about what the about the Sam, and I added woman and Tidima and Dear, Wamaka Motoma Ban, no, Omo Yawadifwe. Now, or chimches, I didn't how do you papa. As a would do followers, as a content now creating as a would did the china pressure, sa. Not with the ABBNT and check. Ubans on your cast and woo. Name was the encho, dear. Why, ye ben was a pressure now, would did the children. And I'm so, Emma, our dear num. To me egu then watch no ene yebusa kata efene mu se we are content creator obafa we yonko ye content creator o se da bi da ehunu bi paint nya de ono obesa akọ na chikuru akọfa ne yonko am wano eye content creator se wone ne e ba be wade eye sa na e ha dwiri ye papa de bia na pressure e da musu ye pa e san se de mba ye bia e te se amansa no ehu nto so wono de enya de a wo be akọfa eye ne yonko ba anase ne yonko no eye content creator se wone ne e kwa akwahihya wade anasempo empena twempo se wonye bio de bia de sanse wo firi mu bi e na aba e nam soma ne kasa asemwe into se pella one Javez de e yam pepere ho pressure e na aka ho bi mo ma wade wo mo ye nyina we so na yemfa enne gidie nsema mesaka ni nyina ensi e wa ha num sei
yo ye beko agopama so na aganye duro no unye bi num yakopa bia no to se o repanya bete de ne eno ana me kan forma wo na eyema oba yema ba ma nyina obi a woto asintine na etwon siatike ade no etu ase ade ama wo waposo no waposo twetwen wo wakodwuma bre eduane siko pa undumi ni wo yi akwakomma na undumi ni di aganye do no beti wo no mu correct pa emema mu de nie se bia akompa so na bia no ma nkoye se na me kire wo hunu aha aganye do na edi wakagine mu bia esima ne mienu miensa na wasore obi hwi usum da o agaye dro no ebe bom wanka se hu se o yo ba o ye be mo wa o libido no be sori agina so dendenten pa menstrual pains na tu ase ene wonte ya onu mpo na wakoka se na bibi kura ya me 0244718557 and 0241604702 na yentumi embre will be e shop rim na Anastasia Mensa Herbal Shop etombi Nathaniel Boache Chemist etombi sana Dr. Pasho Herba owo dia suntom ono so etombi a enya semkuma kura na Vagasti ene de ko pramano so sisia Vagasti elder no modern showers na make for the amount ono no plumbing works ni na oyebi enti nenu wesi udai for person lay pipes na de mawa onto nso nemu yo kama enya de bi papa na mpo no bia pai mpo a obe repair the correct party amount e bia pensa na djuma ho yesa run apprenticeship program o enti uba obe chere odjuma mo sampa adaba gas ni nsa no bopa bo expert ono open show fie and a small scale miners mo pension mo site mo friend no metu bi e mo so ye efa mamum o san so fix pumps e bia pump na paya na sa sei obe fix am buy digester toilet no obetumi aye bia ma o san so the first class washing bay e dia ba hase dunkwa haya Canadian last stop bidi ofeja ko ne jana bia no wona hom ana ebutu a ye twa Brighton de man kofo Fre Elder I was 0247 186141 na yentumi enyo so yenyina so na yen bohwi nkopramma no so emra sisi agopramma so nsem ana de mo ya hye konti de nina eba sisi a
agudie mu nsemi de Ntraman Sports na techre agudie mu nsemi de Ntraman Sports na techre
straight ye shasiem free amanone na yen kohwe amanone games a ebetumi akoso Spanish La Liga Santander no Celta Vigo ni Osasuna 8:30 ya emso ma ba park kra no mo ya shase na Barcelona game kese pa one club athletic club Bebao na bebo na say na lineup na beto dwasisi anwumre a hye say ana Barca Juan Garcia ebeda post ni mo ache ama ayifo no Barcelona for no Eric Garcia ebeda the right side so na ohwa na Javi expert ono no ebetumi agine mo asia kan ekire wo mienu no Pau Kubasi oni ni nua ye frɛ no Gerard Martin omo ana agine kire wa to pan agiban na infinifini wono ye wo Pedri asia kan nwumre yi oni Mark Bernard ana agine infinifini wo ekise omo atwinchinchim omo Lami Eyama ebesia kan sana Femi Lopez ebegina ekire esia kan Anthony Gordon ajepini esia kan striker no Rafinha ono no esia kan na nwumre a eno ne mrante du ba akoma ajepini a mesia kan na nwumre de ama Barcelona na yefriwa EFL Cup no ebekoso Chelsea nwumre am ne Luton Town so esia kan na meno kase ya na mze ahase akura be esma mienu bi eni na Chelsea for no squad na granye yo na Danny Welbeck ejinem Kopama ni Estevao ni we wan kra ni Morgan Rogers no omuna na Asia kan James Reece James ejinem a omuna Asia kan ya ma Chelsea the Blues nti omo hwedi mu so ometumi aye bibi enanwumre yenya so na gopama so nsemo ayede bae no yem fancy nyame admo chena no em say cap kese no eba so ewo local House of Folk ene kotokono democracy cap no eba so details and more ni no she are famous ya genius on the controller na paramour for details ni no e from na so na go promotion nsama nwumre de bro no yem fancy na afi ye hwani twa homra sisi ne kwa amano ne ko fa amano ne nsam no na Vego Target Electricals home and appliances ne de kwa amano ne bulbs ahodo metal box one way gang all gang cables earth rod ceiling fan standing fan ni no ye de bi ma on fridge ne TV door keys china doors building materials ni no ye de bi ma school bags ne de tie wholesale koto na koton na bibia no anya fine we chira kwan ewo old opposite old I am free pakesim utula ga bi a Mines Gate ni off I am free Jama Road na what you able to phrase 0545501710 and 0557235569 bako betu ya basa na dodo mu so ebetumi abana some Texas for senior high school and I make for the amount say and one echo general art general science business agric science home economics ye ni na bi aware so ye na unim ye rani day any boarding house ni na boarding facilities no ewo ho na school aba yetumi na to brono de ka say school ketwa obi ase okọ Oxford na we no school papanti na di school ni din ato brono no so some tech Oxford senior high school no na good news ni isie no onim say free SHS ye di bia ba ho enti omo JHS3 be form 1 no awo form ntie free SHS fa ba no ko some tech no ko gentiti papa enough na odene ko fa nchenchen we ntwa na ade be dwa ya sumni ade ye pe amaye mofra da fa na chance na onko wie no nya ne no 0243114374 ana 0540366707 braso ye nai ho sisi ane enko amanane emra sisia
radio we there what the Ntraman 1 1 91.9 me pa cha uye kode
Absent ye remu ewo northern Algeria na ejashishie ama ne boy free hoba no echemche se nam so ama edipa mako edumie ni 12 metina nanom ensiedo afen so beye se eduonum en 954 en omo so mo ho ahyehye amprempren de wo wo eye adokotafo ensema wo so ehwe wo dendenden na nipa beye ensia de wo echemche se mo de na no odingie papa nom akọ wo makopie mu ewo intensive care unit na che so mo de na no odingie papa amani boy eye wo mu interior minister ene de beto abefontin tefide ni so anwumre menya bia makan ede asomwe
yo ade kase de besi so for the wada romanti social media no so ye blaze den yes nkuma kra na ye blaze no YouTube bia bibinti wontumi anhweye ne sisi a ho no enti uko YouTube no so a no bodencheman TV kase da so da ho obenya bia hwe na nsem wo ye hurugu ha nyina no why update it say obey abreast and yes be am no for no name obey current no nsem say and akoso e we mai mu ye fancy ye na kase adam fo nyina ase mo yade ayedwuma fia no pa be si nwumre yi nwumre yi a yesom kase kwan so ahoho no ye me ekoba jesi kakeku nwumre yi me mo fast brum pa
mame akosie ako adafum enkaibo